Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Would you characterize this as a significant change to our testing and accountability system?
Yes.
Do you happen to know how many weeks are left in the legislative session?
Week and a half?
2.
Perhaps?
I wish it was a week and a half, but it's 2. 2 weeks.
Okay.
And so I have some specific questions, but I just want to make a statement for the committee that I'm worried that we're making these major changes last minute. And I know some of these have been vetted before. HB 4402 has some elements of this change. I'm a joint author of that bill and support a lot of those changes, but the programmatic changes at the high school level have never been considered in a committee hearing this session. The public has still not had an opportunity to testify on these changes that are made as part of this proposal. And I, at least as a member of this committee, was worried about the statement I saw from the governor released last night saying, quote, "The realization that the STAR test will be eliminated if school choice is enacted is attracting even more legislators. No doubt other modifications can be made to the original House version of the Senate bill to attract even more legislators." So these are important topics. Changes to our testing and accountability system are very important to our system, and I don't think they should be used as a bargaining chip in discussions about vouchers. I want to ask you specific questions. So Section 1.008 states that the commissioner shall provide for the use of an assessment instrument under this subsection for students who are unable to participate in administrations of a through-year assessment as determined by the commissioner. So what do you envision the unable to participate language to mean? Will districts have the option of only testing once per academic year or through year? Is the through year an absolute requirement? That language seemed to suggest that it's not.
Yeah. My reading of this is if we have students who either transfer in mid-year or have moved districts a lot in the middle of the year, that there's still a way at the end of the year that they can take that one assessment and still get a valid score at the end of the year on where they are in terms of grade level proficiency.
Okay, but the through-year assessments would be an absolute requirement.
Yes.
Okay. So there's a part of the bill that accommodations and state testing for students with dyslexia is repealed. This is page 24, line 27. These would include testing by oral examination, extra time, technology access. I just want to make sure I'm understanding or to understand why those accommodations are being removed.
I believe that's added on, if you look at page 13, I think it was repealed from one section but added to a different section,
Okay, so just
that is
moved.
still there.
Okay. So we're not repealing any of those accommodations for students.
Correct.
Okay. And then how does the new 3 through 8 through-year testing as outlined in this bill impact the changes that are being made in HB 1416 that's, I think, moving through the Senate right now, that determine when a student is put on an accelerated education plan? Would students that are now failing 2 of the 3 through-year tests be eligible for accelerated learning?
From what I understand about the accelerated learning bills, I think that those are still based off of how a student does at the end of the year, so their end-of-year proficiency level, and not something that's happening mid-year. And so I believe that even with the move to through-year assessments, unless the other language in statute changes, we would continue to do accelerated learning based on where students are at the end of the year.
Okay, because I'm worried that the changes being made to assessment and accountability in this legislation contradict some of the legislation that's moving through the process. But would be happy to follow up afterwards about the particulars of 1416. Can you, we've touched on this a little bit, but how these changes to the statewide assessments under this bill would alter the current calculations for 8th rep accountability?
Yeah, so the way that assessment plays into A through F accountability, this doesn't change that. It just changes what the assessments are, but it doesn't change the way that A through F uses assessment in the calculations. What it really does, what the bill does in relationship to A through F is it adds a couple of clarifications around industry certifications that we've talked about. It does require the agency to conduct additional studies on our CCMR indicators to make sure what that correlation is with post-secondary success, make sure it's weighted properly in our A through F accountability system. And then it also specifies that the commissioner can only increase those cut scores every 4 years, and every 2 years the commissioner has to publish what those cut scores would have been if we had raised them annually instead of on the 4-year cycle.
Okay. And then is this bill changing how we calculate graduation rates? Page 21, line 24, Commissioner shall develop rules that count passing the statewide assessment toward the calculated graduation rate.
So what the bill says is that we can take into account assessment rates when we look at graduation rates. I think for us, what this probably means is that we would need to go through our regular rulemaking process for our accountability manual and collect feedback from stakeholders on how that would happen, because it's not specified in the bill language.
Okay. All right. I appreciate it. Thank you.